Are you a cannabis grower who knows what they're doing? Are you looking for a one-stop shop for all things cannabis lighting? Then check out DutchLightingInnovations.com. On our website, you can learn more about our newest UV technology, which allows us to grow stronger, even better terpene profiles while reducing microbial growth. DutchLightingInnovations.com has all your lighting needs, from HPS to CMH to LED and UV. Lights of the highest quality for growers who know what they're doing. Designed, engineered, and made in Holland. Your one-stop shop for all things cannabis, DutchLightingInnovations.com. You can learn more about our newest UV technology. At DLI, we have decades in experience in both commercial and hobby horticulture. As a result, our engineers have developed a brand new range of horticultural lighting products that combine with the tried and tested manufacturing techniques of the existing commercial lighting products with a modern manufacturing process. As a result, we've created a comprehensive line of horticultural lighting products that are designed to enhance user experience and produce better results. That's DutchLightingInnovations.com.
All throughout history, the term stoner has been used a lot. In common usage, it refers to the guilty, the derelict, and the unsavory. The Oxford Dictionary redefines stoned as a state where you have lost your ability to behave or think normally caused by a drug like marijuana or alcohol. I find that to be unacceptable. Welcome to the Daily Chronicles. Here we talk to different types of stoners from all walks of life. So roll up, load up your bongs, ready up that dab, and tune in as we speak the truth about the stigma. This is the Daily Chronicles.
What's up, my tokers, jokers, and smokers? Welcome back to another edition of the Daily Chronicles, y'all. What's up? Rodney's in the house today, y'all. Listen, we talk about social media as being across all platforms and getting banned and getting shit on them for this and that and this and that. A couple of years ago, I stumbled upon an app called the Weedtube. Upon further, research, I find out that the Weedtube is a safe haven for stoners. So I reached out to them, and they hooked me up with Miss Ariana Newton. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rodney. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. Dude, I love, that I reach out to a company, like Weedtube, okay? And for people that don't understand, why my mind is blown right now, imagine being able to reach out to Instagram and directly talk to those people.
It's a community, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'll dive into it when we start talking about it, but truly like a community and group of people that is really passionate about plants, medicine, and I really don't think you should gatekeep that from anyone or not communicate with your community. If they reach out and want to figure out more about the platform, by all means, let's do it.
So, it's interesting because I reached out, they put us in touch, and the more you and I got to talking about it, you were there damn near since the beginning. What was it, 6 months after before the finalization of the app? You were there.
Yeah, right before the app actually launched, I kind of was brought on to help spearhead some of the promotion and events that were circulating around this app that was launching, that the community had been asking for a while. Obviously, convenience is key in the 21st century, and everyone has high expectations for these platforms. So for them to be able to move from a WordPress website page to a full-blown custom-built app was it was mind-blowing to me too, which is why I'm so passionate to be here and part of this community and help them grow for sure.
Hell yeah. And that's what we want to hear. The community is what is who I speak on behalf of there. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear that, if I'm having a problem with my vegetables, let's talk to the farmer, let's talk to the people who's creating this shit. Now, let's talk about more so, there's playing catch up, with social media, and that's one thing. We'll get to that, but and functionality, but Weedtube is organic. And it's interesting because when you grow weed, you want to be as organic as possible. Now, why wouldn't we want an organic social media? Isn't that the underdog that we want to see make it? Yo, tell us, why was Weedtube made?
Yeah, Weedtube was created out of necessity. Censorship runs rampant across the internet for multiple industries. It's not just cannabis. It's kind of one of those new phenomenons that we've run into as a society. How do we navigate social media? How do we as people, humans, interact with our social media? How do we have healthy relationships with our social media? And I think that being deleted and censored off of social media for talking about things that are legal in your own state, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And it's kind of a really hard barrier for a lot of these content creators. So to have a safe space to post this content and to share your just journey and opinions about cannabis in general, as it's booming out into this huge industry as states continue to legalize. It's crazy how fast everything has just been rolling out the last 10 years. The industry's been around forever, but it's about to boom into something I think different than we've seen yet. So having safe platforms to talk about that and not worry about being deleted, I think is really, really important. Market research, I would almost argue a smidge, but that's less important.
I appreciate your ability to answer that question. I do, because I ask very difficult questions. You're on it. I love you for that. I really do. Thank you. B, what y'all didn't see is I just fucking died backstage, and she saved my life. Okay, that's I'll throw myself under the bus. Listen. I got old Ramona here. Y'all can't see because she's fucking green, but I just took a massive... You watched the whole thing and you're like, let him die. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. I had to grab an inhaler.
You got to cough to get off.
That's it.
I love that expression, though.
Whether it's, however it is, brain cells are a part of the discussion. My point, I really appreciate you having the answer for me. I really do. I don't want to get hung up on that, but I do have more questions. Well, it makes me feel better about the next questions. You know what I'm saying? But
No,
I want to
totally.
know. So, like, watching Weedtube kind of, evolve over the last few years, as we discussed, huge fan, kind of a lurker. I'll call myself out. Fine, I smoke and watch other people's shit. My bad, Posting is going to be, more regular for me. I'm going to get to that point. I want to move more that way. We already had this discussion, and I feel really happy on doing it. So I figured I'd give back and kind of show people that there's another fucking option. You know what I'm saying? So for all of you who don't know, to kind of catch you up to speed, if you're just now tuning in, theweedtube.com, y'all, down there, look down there. It's all scrolling and shit. That'll tell you everything you need to know. If you want it on your phone, that's a different story, but not that much of a different story. You want to tell us about Pipeline? Sorry to kind of catch you mid-smoke there.
No, you're perfect. I let it go out because I got so invested in what you were saying. But, it is also Weedtube Wednesday, so I've been consuming today to my heart's content and desire. I really do use cannabis to help me stay creative, help me stay on task, get those things managed that I need to do every day. And so, yeah. Anyway, shout out to the plant. Love her so much.
What up, Mary Jane?
Pipeline, though, and Weedtube as a whole has always been available as an app since 2019. That's when they launched the app. They ran into a number of issues kind of getting launched into the Apple and Android app stores. Okay. It was kind of funny. We got accepted by Android right away and then deleted like a month later. Apple denied us right away and then reinstated us a month later. We kind of got swept up in a lot of the dispensary apps that were doing cart features and stuff like that. So after a little education with the app stores, we were able to get in there and stay in there. We have not run into any issues since, which I think is incredible, especially as like a cannabis platform in there. So now we have a fun addition to our Weedtube platform in the mobile apps, and it's called Pipeline. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about Pipeline. It's got everything the community's been asking for since the initial launch of the app in terms of short form content. Obviously, Weedtube originated after YouTubers were deleted off of YouTube. More typically, back in 2018, you would see long form content. Now we've got YouTube Shorts. We've got all of these other fun ways to kind of promote our content, right? That is like short form content. But Instagram obviously has been crazy with their censorship as well. And people have been asking for an app that supports pictures, short videos. TikTok obviously has their censorship issues as well. So it was kind of fun to be able to come together and like almost create and brainstorm a way for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to like have a baby and then try to put that in Pipeline for our users to kind of enable all of it. So it really, I want to consider it like a cannabis content hub for all of your content. It's not just long form anymore. And it's crazy. Yeah. It only launched in October and we've already seen like over 20,000 posts to the Pipeline. So that's really unique. I think it's really, really special to be able to curate a community of people that are all kind of working towards the same goals. And yeah, I think that Pipeline is going to really change the game as it grows. And we're going to have unique offerings that are not necessarily typical offerings that you would see on other social media platforms that are working to kind of cater to a larger audience. We kind of get to be a little more specific and niche in like what we offer and how we offer it, doing a little fire emoji as the like button, just like keeping things fun and curated to our community is what I'm really excited about. But yeah, so Pipeline by Weedtube in the App Store, you guys download the app.
That's what the cool kids are doing, I've seen a few others out there. I'm not going to drop any names, but they just don't function as well. To me, I'm a content person. I shifted from being a cook to cooking up content, and now it's filming things, and I put time and effort into these. Whether it's some stupid little edit for TikTok, or this show that you're looking at, we put time into this, y'all. And it's good to find, functionality being an important part of an app. That's not a sales tactic or anything. That is a personal view of Weedtube here / Pipeline. I want to touch on how it, well, I'm going to really want to go back and emphasize organic, social media. I love that. I think that's brilliant, but to emphasize that point, Weedtube wasn't just, a bunch of,
people, rich people doing, dropping an app because
for
they can.
creators. No, Rodney, it's for creators by creators. And that's why it's maintained, I think, that special quality that I think is crucial with any community that you're trying to build online right now, because there's a lot of them. Like, let's be real, everyone has an interest. We all have hobbies. Everyone is creating pages and apps. And how do you set yourself apart to be something special and different to people that, like, that's the question that we're trying to answer. And I think that's what's so cool about our platform, is that it really was made for creators, but by creators, which sometimes, things get lost in the shuffle. Like, it's not a bunch of rich people.
I've had flavors get lost in the sauce before. Yep.
Lost in the sauce. Yes, exactly. But at the end of the day, like, we really do work hard to take the feedback from our audience and try to cater best to that. The live streaming thing is a huge thing that we really do want to work on. And I think it's just a matter of getting enough people really passionate about it to grow to that next level. And it's like, as soon as we've got the community on board, like, why not do it all, y'all?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things that you and I discussed about the organic nature of this, Weedtube social media, is the fact that it was very, very humbly crowdfunded. It wasn't just, like I said, some rich person going, and now I got an app, or brands looking to push. It was literally created, like you said, for users by users. I love that. Consider it a social media democracy, if you will,
No, social media, exactly. And not to toss on top of that, but it's like, we've had offers from numerous people that come through that, well, I've heard about personally from different team members, where it's like, people just expect us to be like another white labeled app. And I think what's so cool about Weedtube is it's all custom built. So, like, eventually we can do whatever we want with it. We're not, like, limited by those typical limitations of a white label app, which I think is really special to the platform also in particular,
I look at it. So if, for those of you just tuning in, to kind of reiterate a little bit, we're talking about weedtube.com. Y'all go check it out. Pipeline. Pipeline is basically the mobile app for Weedtube. It's all going to become a thing, but that's how it's set up now. It is a hybrid baby. And I think that the euphemism or the analogy you used was, if Instagram and YouTube had a baby, you're looking at Weedtube here.
And Twitter.
And
Let's
Twitter,
be honest.
yeah.
We're working on Twitter features as well. Like, they have a feature where you can pass a post, and I'm like a retweet.
Okay.
That's so cute.
That's sweet.
I love that. I'm gonna pass every post. I'm gonna pass your post about this podcast.
Let's go.
I love that we can kind of do that and enable a little bit more of that
community
together. Yep, absolutely.
They've
got hashtags now. You can tag users. You can promote your long form content. It's just. It's awesome. I don't know what else to say about it.
It does just keep getting better. They say just wait. And I'll be honest here. When I first came to, Weedtube, I was iffy. It was another app. All right, cool. Weed in Michigan just became legal. What's out there? You've got the West Coast a little bit more further along than we are. We're playing catch up, and things of that nature. So when I was looking at, hey, what's cool, right? Where am I going to put this show? What am I going to put this out on? I did find Weedtube, and, some postings back then that you can look up on my profile reflect that,
Yeah.
Things were a lot different then. They're a lot different now. Weedtube is just, dude, I love it. I really do. It's a sin that I don't post enough on it. That's why we're talking. Now I have to. Here we are.
Here we are. Well, it's cool. It is a unique platform in that we do have the ability to cater to a global audience. And there are a lot of people, not even just within the States, but within our whole planet. I'm like, all everywhere, truly. A global aspect, really, of like people that are researching cannabis and they want to learn more about what they're smoking or how to grow, or just gaining general information, because a lot of the things that we're doing in the States with cannabis is really cool. It's unheard of. We, as I guess a community, have really curated like these awesome perceptions of what cannabis could be. We curated the opposite as well, I will argue. But a lot of the world is looking at us to see what that looks like. And I think that's super cool, especially for our platform being, you know, the safe haven for people that are experiencing censorship.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just the thing. Like, you know, some people would argue, well, at some point you have to censor it so people don't get offended. Well, that's not the truth. You know, if people are getting offended, they're looking to get offended. That's what you don't understand. You know what I'm saying? And
the internet now,
you know, that's the truth. You know, there's more trolls than there are actual people left. You know, more bots than there are people. I won't, you know, if we had to talk about the little blue bird in the room, if you will, honestly, there was a poll done where Snoop Dogg or something like that, maybe this is farce, but it should be true.
He said, should I take over Twitter? Should I be Twitter CEO? And I was like, retweet that shit and come take over Weedtube, dog.
I mean, listen, okay, let's say you're Snoop Dogg. All right, hang on. Let's say you're Snoop Dogg, all right, and you run on Twitter, all right, and you come across Weedtube and you're like, wait, this is dope, though. Like, he ain't gonna get mad about that. He's gonna be like, all right, do you? That's it. And he'll promote. That's the way I see it, because I don't see him being like aggressive about it, especially weed.
No,
right?
not at all. Well, and a lot of these, I think a lot of, what's a nice way to phrase this? Like, a lot of people do know about Weedtube. It's been around for a while, and it has made waves within the cannabis community and outside of the cannabis community as well. And I think what's really cool about just being partnered with so many unique people is that, again, it is organic and it's free from the typical way you would navigate as like a corporation, right? Because you have to account for A, B, and C, whereas we're just accounting for C, cannabis. Like, it's gorgeous. I don't know how else to explain it other than like people know about Weedtube, and I feel like it's just a matter of time before it becomes a more normalized way to share content.
I agree. Yeah, no, I mean, we need to normalize it somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't, like, it's just, you know, like, it's just going to keep offending people, if that makes any sense.
Well, and I do feel like platforms will loosen up, you know what I mean? And as it does normalize, especially like I am really passionate and impassioned by the space of consumption lounges. And I know we've been talking about that a little bit, but creating these places for the plant to really thrive and be exposed to new audiences in a positive way that leaves them feeling like they had a positive experience and they don't want to shame people for consuming cannabis. I'm just ready to change some minds, some more perspective and perception on the plant, because so many people just still have that negative association, and it's fine. But I think that we could really convince them otherwise if they were open to trying, if they want.
Listen, you know, if I'm looking at it as a consumer, not, you know, as a content creator, but as a consumer, I'm looking at all the social media platforms. I'm going to pick the underdog. You know, that's the truth, because they're always the scrappiest. You know, I'm going to pick the one that was crowdfunded. I'm going to pick the one that, you know, was made for the people, by the people. But hey, that's just me.
Yeah, well,
people do the same.
Everyone's different. You know, we're partnered with Tommy Tong. We have really big partners that have been incredible, supporting the brand throughout its, you know, whole journey. But I think what's really cool now is just, staying with the people that really want to see a community thrive where they can talk about this stuff pretty openly. And what's cool about the creators on Weedtube is they are really creative. You know what I mean? Which I think is, it's another thing that makes it pretty special in terms of like what content you're seeing.
Oh, hell yeah. It's curated content, man. You know, it's actually, if you think about it, it's a curated craft cannabis content. There you go. There's an alliteration.
Oh, I love that.
Well, hey, listen, it's all yours. Speaking of all yours, I want to talk about your journey. You know, we've talked about Weedtube. We've talked about, you know, Pipeline. Obviously, you know, there's instant use 6 months before this app finalizes, and here we are today, a few years. You know, I kind of want to see it from your eyes. Like, what happened? Take us back before that. Like, you get this phone call from these people. They're like, hey, we're making another weed app. And you're like, oh, that's like the 10th of you. You know, like, tell us what it was going through. Like, were there any doubts?
Yeah.
Like,
I would definitely say my relationship with it grew organically as well. Not to make it all organic, but here we are. Coming from Montana and moving to Colorado and kind of seeing the industry and how not closed off Colorado was, but I did feel like since cannabis had been legal there for so long, it was like very competitive, and I was just ready to collaborate. And I think that's something that is really important when you're, getting into the cannabis space, is being open to collaboration, because you have so much to learn. And coming from Montana, I was definitely not like, oh, this is the 10th weed app that has come out. Like, seeing some of these content creators that became Weedtubers because they were deleted off of YouTube, that was my first exposure to really mainstream cannabis at that level, just because Montana was only medicinal at the time. And recreational was still, like, it was not something I was super open about with all of my family and friends. Even when I was, in college, it's like everyone is smoking weed or doing something, but you're not admitting that, if that makes sense, because why would you? You could literally get in trouble. Rodney, you could get in trouble. And I was super in trouble. I was like, no, girl, you've worked so hard. Do not fucking, I don't know. It was just one of those things where when I moved to Colorado, I was really ready to go. And that fresh, I think, energy with a new app was just like, a perfect mix.
No, I dig it. And although I never really went looking for trouble found me in my life, so I'll tell you that. Well, that's what happens when you spend so many years at sea, if you will, to refer to kitchen work in that kind of nautical context. But, that's the truth, man. We live very non-cohesive lives with the rest of society. For example, people would go out and have New Year's plans. Well, you don't have those if you're working in kitchens, you know what I mean? Because you're usually working, because that's when you make your money, right? Any holidays,
sounds like 420, you know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh my god, everyone's just getting high all day, and I'm like, sounds like the busiest day of the year.
Yeah, it is. I can attest to that. I live 45 minutes from Hash Bash. You can smell it from here, you know what I mean? Anyway, I really want to get to know, Miss Provisional Air, Provisional Air on Instagram, y'all. Follow it up. Find her on Weedtube, Pipeline.
So yeah, it actually, my whole thing originated, Provisional Stoner was kind of my persona that I went with before. Obviously, doing a little switch over on Instagram was good for me to not have Stoner in my name. But Weedtube, I was like, Provisional Stoner, that's the way to go. I did really enjoy creating content. I was showcasing a side of my life that I had not really been super open about before, but I was doing it in a way that made me feel very passionate, because I was, doing strain reviews, vlogging my content, capturing my life from that lens and perspective, and then joining on and trying to help the Weedtube team really take it to the next level. And it was just spot on in terms of like being behind the scenes and trying to really help bring something to life that hadn't been done before, which I love doing that.
I mean, that's trailblazing. I mean, that's the truth of it. It's there's a lot of faith behind that, a lot of drive, a lot of perseverance. Was there anything in your life kind of, reaching back all the way, if you were a kid, you were like, hey, one day I want to be a content creator, before you started doing that, before you started working with, people at Weedtube,
I mean, same thing. A lot of these content creators, they have YouTube channels as well. You know what I mean? It's at the end of the day, if you're a content creator, you should be on as many platforms as you can, manage. I would always recommend more is more, but also make sure you're taking care of your mental health along the way. If you don't have enough help, stick with what you know.
I say, if you know something well enough, you're able to teach it forward, or talk about it or speak about it, however you want to look at it. And, obviously, I feel, man, like I don't think that you're just a content creator at Weedtube. You're a representative there. You're part of that family, man.
I would say it is a really close community, and family is a good way to put it. But definitely cannabis family, right? Like, I feel like we're creating those families anywhere you go. Every time you sit down and you consume with someone new, I would argue that is a new member of my family, because that's kind of what plant medicine means to me. And I love having conversations with people when their inhibitions are just down a little bit, or supported, honestly, a little bit by the plant. I get down to a deeper level, which is something that I've always been, passionate about. You were saying jump back to when you were a kid, and it's like, when I was a kid, I was like, I'm going to be president of the United States. And it's like,
hell yeah.
I don't feel like being president, but I think that really educating and being empowered by cannabis and talking about it at a state level, a local level, figuring out these regulations, policies of all these like new exciting things that come along with the creativity of the plant. I think that sounds really exciting.
Listen, there's more than enough of that shit to go around. And I say shit because sometimes the stuff that's, you would think, okay, if it comes from the ground, it's probably okay. Generally, we're finding that that's true. But for some reason, there are people at certain political persuasions, that's all I'm going to say, that don't see it that way, okay? And that's based off of certain religious persuasions that don't see it that way, which is based off of a political persuasion that didn't. The point is, it's a huge racket. Okay, it should have never been illegal to begin with. Okay, you'd be a lot more richer today, y'all, if it wasn't illegal back then. Okay, and to kind of fix the whole generational gap question, if y'all was going to make it legal back then, you would have done it. You didn't. So here we are. My point is,
I don't like to get too involved with the politics of it, but it's just how it is. If you care about the plant, you care about the politics. And if you care about the community, you care about what they're smoking, and that goes back to the regulations. It goes back to the state level of knowing the testing facilities and making sure that they're doing everything right and accounted for all of the different types of molds and crazy situations that come with growing a plant. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one big loop,
It is. It's extremely tautological, in nature. The unfortunate part is this. Right now it's caregivers versus corporate already, and there's a lot of test results that will tell you that corporate's failing more testing than caregivers are. Caregivers are testing theirs the same because they're like, yo, I grew that with my own two hands. They're proud of that. They want to have the biggest tomato, at the farmer's market. Of course they're testing it. They're testing it at the same labs. Those labs are killing it right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're finding out here in Michigan, and I'm speaking here in Michigan, that a certain lab was just passing things that were moldy anyways, saying that it passed inspection, and it was, there's no way. You're getting bad product. You can't just go to a dispensary and be like, hey, this has, molded and I want, my money back. They're not going to do that. They're going to give you the same product or something like that, and try and make it better. But like, you've already turned me off, man. You're selling moldy weed. If it's in here, are you going to search everything? The point is,
it comes down to the states, though, really, obviously, taking the money and redistributing it, which I think is great, but it really does cause a strain on people that are trying to do it at more of that craft level. And it is unfortunate, but I mean, Montana has similar stories. I'm not going to lie to you, Rodney. It's been really upsetting to hear about, and it's just all the more reason to just keep pushing for something a little bit better. At the end of the day, I think there's room for MSOs and these larger corporations and craft growers, because I do really think it comes down to partnerships and really bringing those two worlds together. I know that takes a lot of time. I'm a patient person, so I'm really excited to see how it all works out. But at the end of the day, it is unfortunate that you can, pay for results or pay to keep a product, because it's a lot. It's a lot that these people put on the line. And if you have one bad grow room, one bad infestation, your HVAC is shot and it's moldy, like, what are you going to do? It's expensive. I totally understand why it works the way it does. It's just like any and every other industry, but it is really, really disheartening to see up close. And that's what I think has made me really push to see something better, heading into 2023.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I believe in three facets of cannabis. Okay, there's craft it's like beer. Okay, I had it explained to me a while ago by a cannabis advocate. It's like beer. You can make beer at home, so you have your craft. Your home grow, your home grow. So in the state of Michigan, and we were talking a little bit in the state of Montana, you can grow your own at home so many plants. You said Montana is 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Michigan, I still believe, is still 12. You know what I'm saying? It's just not per person. It's just per household is up here in Michigan. So, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I mean, if you can't share 12 plants in one house, yeah. But anyway, you know, knowing...
No tolerance shame here, Robbie.
Fair enough. My point is like, you know, you're able to grow at home. Okay, so that's your homegrown. That's your home brew. You can brew your own beer. Cool. Then you have your craft cannabis. So that's like your craft beer. That's your craft breweries. You know, you go to these places. These people are brewing beer. That's what's going on. Then you have your corporates like your Budweisers and your Bud Lights, and then you got your corporate cannabis like Skymint and Flourish, just to name a few in Michigan here. Now, that's like 3 lanes of traffic. You know what I'm saying? Everything works great. Everybody's going. Everything's cool. When you start crossing and trying to block, then we have an issue. You know what I'm saying?
No,
You'll
absolutely.
find that it's not the home growers that are complaining. It's not the craft people that are complaining. That's the issue. Everybody wants to push to that corporate market. And that business lane, if you overtake everything, you're going to get all bunged up on the highway.
No, yeah, and that's just, I think, part of really pushing the perception of cannabis once again, because like even as a content creator, I love supporting smaller brands. I love facilitating and helping answer questions and solve problems efficiently, quickly. That is like my favorite thing to do. But it is, you know, unfortunate there's just less of a budget there typically too. And so I make the sacrifice, but does that mean that anyone and everyone else does? No. As content creators, you got to look out for yourself too. So it is a cool duality to kind of watch develop in the cannabis space. But yeah, it is unfortunate you don't see, you know, as much marketing going out for these not home grow, but craft growers.
The small business people, you know, the people that do it with their own hands. You know, it's one thing to grow your own. We were talking earlier. I grew some ice cream cake, you know, over the summer, and that's what I'm toking on now. You know, it puts you in a different place altogether, I tell you. But and it tastes even better because I grew it. I watched the damn thing grow. You know, I watered it. I took care of it. You know what I'm saying? I trimmed it. I did that. I put in that work. It's always going to taste better if you do it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is I do not have a green thumb, so I was very passionate to support and find my local growers and figure out how they were growing and if they were using soil or different nutrients or what was their water system like, because I really can't execute that in my current stage of life. And so I wanted to just dive in to find some good weed here in Montana. I was like, I'm smoking some Big Sky buds right now. Strawberries and cream. I don't know if you like strawberries and cream at all or not, but
Sounds good.
it's cool to, just actually like know the growers and stuff like that. Yeah, actually it looks pretty good. She's
Oh,
a
that looks
decent-
good.
No.
Oh, yeah. That looks good. That looks really
I
good.
agree. I'm just jealous. I'm like, one day I would love to grow my own cannabis, but alas, apartment life.
Hey, they have grows for that too. It's just
Right,
the
little
smell of it is an
containers.
issue, but
Gardens would be cute eventually.
I have a friend right now in the state of Michigan, obviously, that she's growing 5 autoflowers just in her house. I mean, autoflowers are great because, obviously put a light on them and stuff, but they're just going to keep growing. They're going to grow, bud, die. That's pretty much it. And so,
Right.
like, you know, people have been doing them as just like house plants, you know, trim your house plant and smoke it and stuff, put it in your food. It's dope as hell. It's just an awesome herb that if you light it on fire, there are some side effects. It's pretty cool. Weedtube, pipeline. I, for one, can't thank y'all enough for doing what you do there. You know, honestly, it's good to know that, finally there's a place social media wise that's organic, if you will, to bring it back to that. And finally, it's good to know that, like, all right, like if I bitch about something and we're like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, y'all take it serious. You know what I'm
I'll
saying?
tell you guys, I'm the #1 bitcher. I'm like, what's next? How are we pushing the envelope? How can we make the user experience more pleasurable for anyone that wants access to the platform and its features or the mobile app? So I'm right there with you guys. I'm like, bring the heat. At the end of the day, it's only going to get better from here.
Hell yeah. So before we get out of here, I got one last question for you.
Oh man, no, it's just it's talking and having conversations. I think that's what the plant.
It's what we need to do. Exactly. Right. You know, and it's in giving us a little bit of insight on Montana. That's dope as hell. You know, I really do appreciate that. You know, that saved me a lot of Googling. You know what I mean? So, thank you.
You got my number, Rodney. Hit me up.
I want to talk about, you know, weed a little bit. Obviously, you were smoking a little bit earlier. What were you smoking? You said you're something.
A little strawberries and cream.
Yep, strawberries and cream.
I mixed it with some rainbow sugar. I hadn't heard of that strain before, so I was like, I gotta give that a shot.
What is your favorite strain?
Ooh, yeah. I have 3 in my last 3.
Three's fine.
I love sour diesel. Typically go for like a gelato. It's kind of, I'm all over the place.
I noticed as soon as you said gelato, I was like, okay, yeah.
I know. I don't like to balance myself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
by the effects. I'm like, I need a little bit of everything. And blue cream has always been like a go-to too. However, I will say I've experienced a lot of different blue cream.
So I've heard of all 3 of those strains. There's a strain that I definitely want to get you familiar with. If I, you know, have to, you know, show you some pictures, I will. But I grew up myself. It's called Trench Buddy, and it's only made here in Michigan. You can get the seeds online. However, it's only made here in Michigan. Definitely check it out.
I love an exclusive.
Oh, it's Michigan Seed Company, I think. I forget the name of it. I'll have to throw up a picture right here and stuff. But
wait, did you say Crunch Berry?
No, it's Trench Buddy.
Oh, Trench Buddy. Okay.
Trench Buddy. Like, so like yeah.
That's great.
Which doesn't really make sense, but it does because it's a cross with THC Bomb and Thor. I've never heard of either one of those, but I can tell you this. If you like gas, you like diesels, okay?
I do.
Imagine taking that diesel and mixing it with a gelato, oddly fucking enough, and you end up with Trench Buddy.
I love the sound of it. That's what I'm already doing. I'm like a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Right now, you know, I got a sativa. I have a because see, here's the thing. When people say sativa for the morning and indica at night, that's not true. Okay, it's the way they're grown, huh?
I said unsubscribe.
No, yeah, but it's not true because here's the thing. If you look at sativa and indica, the only actual science that leads to that is how it's grown. That's it. The effects can't. I mean, nowadays, there's no true sativa, no true indica. Anything is a hybrid. What's going to pop out? We'll see. That's where the breeders will have a different discussion. But that's where my point ends. You know, I've noticed as of right now, and I've got the footage here. We'll throw it up right here. To my opinion, you know, I have one that looks like a sativa, one that looks like an indica, and one looks like a perfect hybrid. That's just the way the leaves, you know, look, and that's just me. And that's just growing it a few times. So if I sound uneducated, I apologize, but that's just what I've noticed, you know.
No, you're not uneducated at all. I think it's at fault of, like, also going mainstream, you know what I mean? How can we get these ideas across to just, like, a general consumer that's not necessarily looking to dive in and learn all that much more? And I think that was an easy solution at the time, but I think now that we're getting so into the nitty gritty of it at a state level, people want to know the truth. And you know, that's
just like saying, sorry,
marketing.
Exactly. Lazy marketing. You're absolutely right. And it's just like saying, you know, people shopping for the highest THC percentage. That's not how you do it, y'all. Don't do that. Honestly,
for the back.
Yeah. You know, if it don't smell good to you, don't buy it. That's the truth.
We're talking about that with cooking in cannabis too, Rodney. I would love for you to elaborate on that quickly too, because I do think terpenes are in everything and anything else that we're experiencing. And why are we not talking about it with cannabis all the time? Like, why is that not the default way to figure out if you are going to like the plant?
I think that it's too much for people to take in right now. And, you know, it's a hard connection for people, you know, pre-existing in each industry to accept. you know, and I mean, a lot of people have crossed over already. Some people are trying to. There's, you know, rules and regulations and things on the road, you know, leading up to that at this point. You know, how much is allowable, you know, can we sell, and da 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 da. There's an amazing place in Nashville, Tennessee right now called Buds and Brews. And that you infuse it yourself. It's a version of a CBD or something, okay? There are some effects, but it doesn't... Now, interesting point. In Nashville, sorry, THC is illegal. So you can't get it in Tennessee. You can't have actual THC at all. You can have farm hemp and stuff, but this is a certain derivative of hemp that has the psychoactive effects, thus making it legal in the state of Tennessee. If that's not, rebellious of the South, I don't know what else, you know, right? So I dig it, though.
It's interesting, though, to kind of see what people are grabbing onto first, because CBD isolate in your drink, I'm like, what are you thinking about? But also, I'm like, okay, like, sure, if that's what the general people want to see first to consume, by all means, like, I guess give it a shot, but I don't like it.
to you know, go back and answer your question, why don't people do the connection? Terpenes are extremely important, okay? If it doesn't smell good to you, chances are you're not going to enjoy it, okay? Because as soon as you smell something, we don't realize that, you know, that if you go to eat something, the first thing you do is smell it. Okay, if it doesn't smell good, it's not going to taste good to you. That is the truth. Okay, some people like gefilte fish, and I think that it's terrible. But we won't talk about that. The point is, Happy Hanukkah, y'all. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all of that fun stuff to you. Yuletide, Gold Yule, if you will, to my people in Norway. I think that, you know, if you put it together, people are like, there's no way it's that simple. It honestly is. There's terpenes in food. For example, they say that eating a mango and smoking weed will make you higher. That is true. Okay, and here's why. Because mangoes are extremely ripe with a terpene called myrcene. M-Y-C-R-E-N-E. Myrcene, myrcene. And so is majority of cannabis out there. It's like 80% of cannabis has myrcene in it, okay? So if that has myrcene in it, and this has myrcene in it, I mean, it's not apple, banana, apple thing, you know, however popular that was back in the day. It literally is going to compound, and yes, it is going to get you higher or affect it somehow, you know, noticeable. People are like, whoa, you know, sorry?
It's a support. Like, it's a support to the high that's already happening. So you just keep adding more support. There you go.
Exactly. At the same time, there are terpenes and things that we can do to help counteract the high. You know, it's like we were talking the other night. Like, if you ever had a bad high or a panic attack or something, you know, and mental health is important, y'all. Let's say you smoked and it just didn't work for you and it made it worse. You know, mood enhancer. Remember, not just bad, you know, good moods here, bad moods as well. Okay. Let's say you have a panic issue and you start to panic. If that's happening, I want you to take some pepper and chew on it. Fresh ground pepper, you know, fine, but, you know, some fresh pepper, pre-ground, in your mouth, chew on it, and just within 5 minutes, it's going to go away. Because pepper, I think, is beta-caryophyllene, and that is known to have reducing anxiety and calming effects. So if you doing that, I mean, that's what a witch, quote unquote, sorry with the fingers, would have done back in Boston, but y'all killed them, so we won't really know that, huh?
No quotes necessary, but I mean, like, it's truly like, hopefully every bud tender will be a quote unquote witch and can know kind of how these things are interacting together and just really help people and be supportive of their questions when they have them about, like, hey, what is this going to do to me? It's like, you'll never know exactly, but you can get it down to a science of, you know, relating
it's a
it
science. That's the truth.
Relating it to food, I think people would definitely open their eyes to that a lot more.
I think we're going to have a lot coming for us in the next few years to come. It's interesting to see what's going on with all the political stuff happening as of right now, especially during the holidays. You know, it's you don't even really want to look at social media, but you always want to look at Weedtube and Pipeline. You know what I'm saying? Always make sure you guys sign up, check it out, add me, add her, add everybody. Y'all see this, subscribe, like, everything. Again, I want to thank my wonderful guests. Tell your friends, tell your mama.
She'll
tell her friends.
Tell your grandma. I told my grandma, let's go, y'all. Get up in here. No.
My grandma would have loved it. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us. My mom would have bitched about it. At the same time, she's no longer with us. They would have loved it. I digress.
Everyone's gonna bitch about social media at the end of the day. It's a new world we're living in, so why not be on the weed one?
Exactly. It's chill. Everybody smokes weed. We're good to go. But again, I appreciate it. You know, you coming on, like breaking it down for us. I really appreciate being able to, you know, kind of sit down and break down, you know, the cohesion between Pipeline and Weedtube.
No, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me talk about Pipeline, you guys. We're excited about the new features and more to come as always.
Yeah, so check it out, www.weedtube.com. Check it out there on your desktop. Pipeline, search for it in the App Store. Buy Weedtube, y'all. This has been another amazing episode of the Daily Chronicles. We'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.
If I